What's good, everybody? It's me, Tim Keys, and today I want to talk about Korg plugins, starting with the Korg Triton Extreme. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all that. So, Korg plugins, Korg Legacy Collection has been around for quite a minute, and in the last few years, they have really you know, taking great strides and added some cool stuff to their product line. A couple years back, they introduced the Korg Triton. This is the Korg Triton Extreme. I found it interesting that they added this plugin, and they have the Triton as a separate plugin from the Triton Extreme. Primarily because when they released the Korg Triton plugin, they offered pretty much all of the features of the Korg Triton, including all of the sound sets that you used to have to buy. For those of us who actually got a Korg Triton, you had to buy the additional cards and whatnot to expand your sounds. The plugin had everything included. The Triton Extreme, when the Extreme came out, the hardware version, it had a lot of those sounds already built into the ROM. So the Extreme was like a best of with everything, almost everything built into it. There are a couple of expansion cards that they left out, but for the most part, they had a lot of the sound sets that, the cards that you had to buy, they were built in. The cool thing that they added with the Extreme was the vacuum tube, which it made sounds a little bit warmer. On key. Anyhow, so yeah, I'm not gonna go through every feature, but I'll go over a couple of them. The cool thing about having the Korg Triton Extreme or the Korg Triton plugin is the fact that with this product, they give you access to everything. So the dope thing about the Triton hardware back in the day was it was a real synthesizer. It was based on sample-based synthesis, meaning that they had their own, their own pre-sampled material, and you can use those as your oscillator. Let's see if I can get that to be more prominent. You could get that up and running and pull up whatever sample you wanted from the machine, or you could sample your own stuff and use that as an oscillator to create your own patch. There we go. Interesting. Pardon me. So everything here is based on velocity. So as I set my oscillators, we have the male voice set on one and a tremolo string on another for the high. If I change it, I'm going to just randomly pick some stuff. And then we'll go here. That's ridiculous. So yeah, that's the cool part about the Triton Extreme. You had the ability to kind of like, you weren't limited to what was on the machine. You could actually go and pre-select your own sounds, and then whatever was available, and you could upload those into the machine, and that could be used to create a new patch. You had your filter options that you could utilize, and each oscillator had a different set of filters that it could use. You had your filter envelopes. There was so much stuff on the Triton Extreme in terms of being able to program stuff. Quite frankly, I found it overwhelming. but I found it great because the machine sounded wonderful. And now you got everything here. I do not know if this has the Mossboard sounds built in. What's that house organ? Let's see what else they got. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff here. If you got this as a plugin and just wanted presets, you would be you would be set in sounds. And again, what I like about this over a plugin such as like Nexus is while Nexus is great for giving you sounds out of the gate, and for people who just want good presets and you don't have to worry about doing too much tinkering, this does all of that, but it takes it a step further because it gives you the ability to create whatever sound you want. So you're not limited to just the presets. You can go deeper in waveform selection. I don't know if they allow you to do sampling. Like the original Triton, you could do sampling. And one cool thing about the Tritons and the Triton Extremes was that they allowed you to install the Moss engine, which a lot of what was on the Moss engine served as a precursor to both the Oasis that was released back in 2008 and the Korg Chronos, because it all consisted of various aspects of physical modeling, organ modeling, EP modeling, wind modeling, woodwind, pluck string, bowed, horns, the whole shot. So if you got your hands on the Korg Moss engine, you had the ability to create all sorts of cool sounds without using samples. The Moss engine was derived from Korg's Z-Synth. I think that's what they call it. I might be mispronouncing the name, but I think it was the Z-Synth. Gonna mess that up. Somebody can let me know in the comment section. But yeah, and the Z-Synth was a monster because it did all of those aforementioned methods of synthesis, and it gave you 12 voices of polyphony. The Moss engine gives you 6, but you could combine it with the sounds of the Triton to create all these cool sounds. There's stuff on that Moss engine that I have not seen replicated even in the Chronos. So yeah, I'm going to delete that. Talk about the Prophecy. I'm going to load that up. I have not purchased the Prophecy. I am good using the demo. I'm going to wait on it to load up because that's what it's going to do. Boom. And start the demo. So the original Prophecy came out back in the 90s. And my understanding of the Prophecy is that it was monophonic. It contained the same instrument as the Z-Synth. I am not saying that right, and I apologize. Somebody's going to chew my head off in the comment section if they watch it. But it was the same instrument, the same engine, if you will, as the Z-Synth, but the Z1. But the difference with those two was this was monophonic, the other one was polyphonic. What I want to see is if they add it. All right, so they give you some of that. They don't give you all of it. in this particular plugin. So you get your standard oscillator, you get VPM, which is their version of FM synthesis, where you get like two oscillators, but instead of everything being sine waves, one oscillator is it could be a sine, triangle, square, saw, whatever, and then your modulator could be any of the other ones as well. Sine, square, triangle, or you could do an oscillator 2 type deal. And whatever oscillator 2 is, it can modulate what's on oscillator 1. So it gave you the ability to do a lot with a little in terms of FM synthesis without overcomplicating it like you had to address on a DX7. What I want to see is, what do they give you? Let's see, they got French horn. Now again, this is modeled. So this is not, this is not samples. You can do things like adjust the direction, the amount of pressure. I think this is pretty neat that they have finally taken aspects of the MOS engine and they have allowed you to access it in this plugin version of the Prophecy. Let's see, I want to check out one more sound. Real string bass. Let's go to that guitar plucked. Let's see what it's going to sound like. All right, that's cool. Get your different filter options. Most of them seem to be fairly typical. Your LFO section, your envelope sections. Yeah, so that is Prophecy. The only drawback I can see with the Prophecy is it's strictly monophonic. So that leads me to imagine that when they did this, they were going strictly to recreate the Korg Prophecy as opposed to something like, sprucing it up to be more like the Z1. It would be nice to see more polyphony added, but hopefully they'll address that by just adding the Korg Z1. Now, you also get the Korg M1. And it is very much a Rompler, like the Triton. It is the precursor to the Triton with the resonant filter added. So I'm not going to go over too much of that because the technology of the M1 is very similar to the Triton. Matter of fact, the M1, as I said, is the precursor to the Triton. It's sample-based synthesis. With the M1, you cannot sample into the M1. You couldn't do it on the old device either. but you had a boatload of presets to choose from, and you had the ability to customize your own sounds, running, selecting different sounds for your oscillators and running them through your filters and so forth. What I do want to pull out, if I can find it, is the Korg Monopoly. I promise you'll be sick of that chord progression, but it's okay. It's all right. So the Monopoly is a synthesizer made by Korg back in the day. Very rich sounds, and this attempts to model that Monopoly. You can also find this on the Korg Chronos engine. I don't know what the difference is between this one and what's on the Chronos because I don't own the Chronos yet. But, if you're looking for, those sounds, this is a good analog modeled sound. And you have your effects that you can use to polish the sound. You can hear the sound. You have 4 oscillators that you can work with, and this offers you basic waveforms, and then you have your ability to adjust the pitch. So you can have a huge sound, or you can keep it simple. You can do the detuning, set everything in portamento. You have your standard filters. I need to stop. But you got your basic filters. Everything is set to replicate the behavior of the Korg Monopoly. I don't know how well it replicates the actual piece of hardware. And that's okay. I can probably go without that in this lifetime because buying a Korg Monopoly is very expensive, and I'm pretty sure I know Korg did a great job taking this technology that they had from the past and figuring out how to model it and putting everything into a software package. So probably not going to miss most of the stuff, and I'm definitely not going to miss having to do repair works on a synthesizer from the 80s. So there's that. There's the Poly 6. Also a great sounding instrument in its own right. This is the plug-in version. So yeah, sorry about that. So you get your oscillators. You have your main screen, your edit screen. It's been so long since I've used this plugin. And again, this is another one that you can find in software format, included on the Korg Chronos. I don't know what the difference is, again, because I don't have a Chronos yet. And I've never played a Korg Poly 6 hardware unit. So again, this will serve you well. You have your envelope sections. your filter section. You modify the pitch, key assign mode, different aspects of external modulations. You have an arpeggiator. Probably should turn it on. The volume is kind of low. And again, it's been a while. And I'm not going to worry about it. The Korg Poly 6, I think, again, that's another great unit. Comes with the Korg Legacy Collection. Let's see. Then there's the MS-20, which has a very gritty texture. That's ridiculous. All right. Sorry about that if the volume was too loud. I'm going to go to program list. Go into the edit mode. You have your oscillators. Oscillator 1, oscillator 2. You have the amount of voices you can use. Oh, they give you up to 32 voices of polyphony. I did not know that. Shame on me, because I've had this plug in for years and I've never bothered to do that. I don't remember if the actual hardware unit of the Korg MS-20 is strictly monophonic. I think it is, or is more limited in its voice range. But, you know, this is a nice addition. You also get the ability to do virtual patching and virtual cabling. I'm not going to do that in this video, but for you guys who like to do some of your tweaking on the modular end, boom, you got your patch cables here. You can adjust this stuff as you like it and as you need it to create all sorts of nice sounds. I'll do one more for the road before I roll out. Let's see. Maybe I'll do both of them. The wave station is incredible. The wave station is Korg's take on wave sequencing. I clicked on it. Give me one moment, maybe 2 or 3, because I gotta wait on this to load up. Oh, sorry about that. My bad. So the Korg Wave Station. I had an actual wave station unit. I had the rack unit SR. And I tell you, it was fun. While I had it, I had the wave station SR rack unit, and I had it hooked up to Yamaha's SY35. Both of those have that vector synthesis. And vector synthesis is essentially when you have like one patch may contain like 4 oscillators, depending on the patch. And so oscillator A could be one sound. Oscillator B could be another sound. Oscillator, C and D, they all 4 can be different sounds, and then you would use this knob to go through different points of the sound to emphasize different aspects or create modulation in that manner. You also have the wave sequencing ability in that, if I can find one with wave sequencing in it, I'll show you. What it would allow you to do is go through different parts, kind of like wavetable synthesis, where you could go through different parts. One sound can be made up of all sorts of different patches to create one sound. However, the difference with wave sequencing, and for all you super synth heads, please don't chew my head off if I misquote this, but generally speaking, the idea is like with wavetable synthesis, you have a waveform, and that waveform can consist of a solid wave, square wave, additive wave, or whatever, and you would scan through it to create this unique tone. Wave sequencing is kind of like you could have a patch, and the beginning could be a piano, and then you can crossfade from a piano to a organ. You can crossfade from an organ to a sine wave. You can crossfade. You can go from a sine wave all the way to like a random pad, and crossfade to a violin string. It will be based on, you're limited by what's in the ROM memory and the samples that they let you access. So that would be the fun part about using a wave sequencing device. The Wave Station was dope in that although it didn't have a good set of like your bread and butter sounds, you could use it for that. It was really good for pads and creating you could create different sounds and get into all these unique spaces. I preferred the Wave Station plugin over the actual hardware unit just because it was easier to see what you were doing. And if I wanted to edit stuff and change anything or make patches, using this screen right here is a whole lot easier than the little the little small digital screen that they gave you. Trying to program anything on that, in my opinion, is quite the hassle. If you can do it, more power to you. But that's not the move for me. So that's the Korg Wave Station. Now they got the Korg Wave State, which does all of this and then some. But if you can get your hands on the Wave Station plugin, I'd highly recommend it. I think they have it on sale right now for $50. I'll try to remember to put the link up to all this stuff in the description. Last one that I'm going to do is the mini Korg. And I'm on that demo. Whistle. I'm sorry. So this reminds me of some of Arteria's plugins in terms of the layout. But this is definitely, it has its own unique tone. And you are able to use these as your effects racks and your effects units. Of course, you can shut all of these off and use your own according to whatever DAW you have or whatever plugins you have and create your own sounds. But this, for what it is pretty nice. Let's go to the keys. See if I can put the ARP on, because I know they have an arpeggiator, and shame on me for not knowing how to use it. Come on. So we're not going to do that. I'm going to pick a patch. multiple screens. Let's see. All right. 2D, 3D. I feel like I might personally be using this 2D method because everything is laid out and it's more accessible. But it's nice that they give you the option of adjusting the screen how you want. You have your effects chain, you have your different patches. You can save. Yeah, I think I would say Korg. Korg is, in my opinion, I don't hear it talked about as much when it comes to the plugins that they offer, but I feel like it's slept on, and I definitely think it's worth taking a look at. Korg has made some great products over the years, and many people, in my opinion, forget that the Korg in the realm of technology has done more than just create the Triton. As dope as the Triton is, it has done far more than just the Triton. And if you want access to some of that technology and you want to experience, what they do or what they have done without necessarily breaking the piggy bank too bad, I would check out this product of the new Legacy Collection. And it really seems like in the past couple of years they've added these new synths in. I know this mini Korg is new. They didn't have that in earlier. And I know the Triton and the Prophecy, these are all new. So I would definitely check these out. They got the demo now. See if you like it. 20 minutes and you can create all sorts of cool stuff with it. And if you like it, you can buy it. And if you don't like it, then hey, at least you tried it out. Thank you for watching this video. My name is Tim Keys, and I'm out. You guys have a great one. Peace.